haven't got an alert yet, but hopefully we're going to be live. Yeah, it says we're live. So.
Yep.
Are we live?
Yes, we are.
All right. Yeah, it says we're live. Yep, here we go. Hello, Gun Nation. How's everybody this evening? Appreciate y'all being on. Just so everyone knows, 1776 got hammered by that storm, and he has no power. So they're telling him he won't have power till Saturday. So everybody keep him in your thoughts, because that's a nightmare without power that long. But we do have a special guest on this evening, Bald and Curious. Everyone probably knows him. You want to go ahead and tell a little bit of the subscribers about you, Bald?
Thank you very much for inviting me. I feel kind of like a celebrity. I'm just a regular Joe Blow, have a little bit background in the competition shooting, and I kind of do it all. Low guns, born and raised in communist Czechoslovakia. I came here when I was 20, and that's pretty much it.
Cool. What do you have, KS? Got any little tidbits of information for the first chat?
Just for my channel, or kind of what's going on?
Yeah, anything.
Well, first of all, hello everybody. Happy Wednesday night. Thanks so much for joining us as always. Nothing terribly new. You guys all know I got the APX compact, so I've been kind of playing around with that, and I'm debating whether I want to get the Centurion or not, because they're basically the same gun, just a little bit longer grip in the Centurion. But I like those guns quite a bit, so that's fun. And I need to get back out to the range and do a little bit more shooting with the can here pretty soon and take advantage of that. But otherwise, no, I'm just kind of footloose and fancy free right now. Whatever happens, happens.
Cool. Do you think on that APX, what's that one officially called? The subcompact?
No, it's just a compact.
Compact. Okay. Do you think that you could take a Centurion magazine and put it in there and it would mate up to it?
Oh yeah, it'll take any of the other magazines. It'll take the full size or the Centurion. So
will there be a gap? I meant with no gap.
Oh no, there would definitely be a gap.
Okay.
And I'm sure they'll have sleeves at some point in time, because they're spending a lot of time with this line. So I imagine they'll keep trying to crank out whatever they can.
Cool. And probably X Grip will come out with a sleeve, even in the aftermarket, that you could maybe grab one and try it out, see what you think about it. Because if it's going to give you a couple extra rounds and you don't have to grab the Centurion, hell, that might be the answer.
Right. Hey, Rabbi Jesus has already hit us with a question. Bald, this is all about you, brother. What is your favorite gun? And it's wide open, man. Pick anything.
That was even one of my questions.
I know. Well, Rabbi got ahead of us here, man. He's leading the way.
Well, I'm a big fan of Grand Powers, as you know. So far, Grand Powers, they ruled my competition world. I shot my Excalibur in the USPSA production, and I shot the X-Rim in IDPA in SSP and ESP division. But since this thing came in, the Grand Powers didn't really get a whole lot of love lately. I mean, this thing is just, X-Rim got me hooked up on this, and the funds are kind of tight right now, but I might sell some other guns to get one more of these. It's just, this thing is just sick.
You're hooked.
So STI, basically 2011 line, kind of sucks that we have to use these 10-round, or actually full-size neuter to 10-round magazines. But it's definitely something about this. And SVI especially, the Infinity line, because that's the top of the line custom as it gets.
Yeah, it's a beautiful gun.
Awesome.
And I was going to say, this is actually a great question, so we could ask this too. What is the best USPSA starter pistol and like factory?
Glock.
Nice. I like that. Represent.
Although I hate the Glocks, I wouldn't say I hate them. I just don't like them. I think the Glock 34 or 35 is probably your best bet. And the nicest thing is, if you ever show up to a match and you forget your mags, there's going to be somebody shooting a Glock. So, you get just, as far as competition goes, I haven't been to a competition that there wasn't Glock, either Glock or MMP. Any of those get you in the production division. I'd say the Glock's probably even better, because I never liked the MMP triggers. The Glock can be made, the trigger can be made real nice without any aftermarket parts, just with a little springs and a little polishing.
Right.
I mean, the buddy of mine shoots Glock religiously, and he's got a really nice trigger. I mean, all it did is polish the crap out of it, mess with the springs, and just shoot it. And he shoots it good.
Yeah. So, so there's a question kind of bounced off of that a little bit, and a Rabbi again coming through with another question: Glock 34 Gen 4 or Gen 5? So this is for both of you guys, really. And Big Johnson, you're definitely getting into the Glock world. Gen 4 or Gen 5? If you're gonna compete and you're gonna run something like a 34 or a 35, what do you think?
Well, honestly, and it's weird now that you bring up the Gen 5 because I really actually like the cutout on the Gen 4, up at the front. And now I know that on the Gen 5 it's covered, but they say that it's, they've taken care of the weight. And of course your Gen 5 has the marksman barrel from the factory, but I just like the little cutout. I don't know why. And I think they're probably both going to be, they're as accurate as the shooter is, I believe. But I don't think you could really go officially wrong with either one. If you want to cut some costs, definitely the Gen 4. So that's my opinion.
Bald, what do you think?
I just responded. I said go with the Gen 5 because you don't have a finger grooves to deal with, and you're going to have the latest gun. He was also asking about the sights. And from what I read and from what I hear, Warren sights is probably one of the best for competition. But then again, it's got a lot to do with your actual vision and the line of sight and sight picture that you like. But I handled both of them. I actually like the Gen 5. It's I'd say it's a better gun than a Gen 4. You're getting, like I said, the finger grooves are gone and they got a couple of minor things. So if you're gonna buy a new one, might as well buy a Gen 5.
Gotcha.
What do you think, KS?
Well, and I used to compete. In fact, I competed with a Gen 3 Glock 34 for several years. And I like the 3 and 4, Gen 3 and Gen 4 because of the flexibility of aftermarket parts. But Bald makes a good point. You can make a Glock do a lot of things without a lot of money. But if you're if you're okay with, pouring some money in, I mean, I think I ran a Vogel competition trigger and Zev competition springs and connector in it. I had a Zev barrel, and I think I ran True Glow TFX Pros, I think, for the sights, and that thing was a monster. It was fantastic. It was probably about a 3-pound trigger, which for a Glock is pretty good. Not the best in the world, but that thing just ran, and I used to love that gun. It was fantastic.
Now, one thing that bugs me on the Gen 5, and this could come into play with somebody with large hands, is that lower cutout, on the front of the grip. My finger actually goes my pinky goes right into that little hole. So, that new where you can strip it from the front. I don't like that. I do like not having finger grooves, but I'm not crazy about that cutout. And then also for sights, I really like the Dawson because the rear sight is adjustable. So if you want to change your ammo load, if you want to go weaker, softer, whatever, you can adjust your sights to compensate for that in the rear.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
Rabbi Jesus, he said he's got like a $1,300 budget. If you got that kind of budget, screw the Glock, get a Shadow 2.
Yeah, Shadow 2.
If you can afford it, if you can afford it, skip the Glock, get a Shadow 2, go right for the big guns.
Yeah, I didn't know that was his budget, but yeah, I would definitely. I thought he was meaning cheap as possible, but yeah, I would definitely go Shadow 2 there too. Okay, KS, knowing that, what do you think?
That's tough. I think it's all purpose driven. I mean, you guys know I love the Shadow 2. It's incredible that it's probably the best shooting gun I've ever owned, just in my hands. But I think in terms of flexibility and depending on what type of competition you're in, and you guys know significantly more about the competition stuff. What I did was very IDPA based, but it was pretty loosey goosey. In other words, you had skill levels of all types, and it was all kind of catered to indoor range type of stuff. I mean, there was still some running and gunning and low light and all that kind of stuff, but it was really, it tried to be very practical in terms of self-defense situations, that sort of thing. And something like that, the Glock ran really well. I probably would prefer a Glock, a lighter gun to kind of move around rather than the heavier gun. But if I was really going more for precision and accuracy and even speed, I mean, that Shadow 2 will run fast because that reset is so short. If that was more my goal than the Shadow 2 all day long.
Yeah, and I can swing that Shadow too, just because it has weight. I can swing it and hit the target with the lighter polymer pistol, even my P09. Sometimes I'll swing it a little too far. Now, I don't know if that's true with bald, but that's what I've ran into.
This is a heavy gun, real heavy gun. I got no issue swinging that around. Once you go in, it's really not a problem. But for the money, and if the weight is an issue and you don't want a Glock, the Grand Power Excalibur will make awesome gun. You can pick it up for about $800, and you don't have to do a damn thing to the gun. It's ready to go right out of the box. Comes with the 3 magazines, and you get pretty much a little heavier than a Glock, and you get a trigger of Shadow too. So
yeah.
But the mags are more expensive too than
all the mags are gonna be $40 plus. I mean, you go buy M&P mags, you go buy, even Shadow. The only cheap mags are the Medgar.
Yeah,
so
but they work great.
I mean, you can buy a Medgar mags and modify them to fit a Grand Powers. It's just a notch in the front. That's all.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, for the money, if you want to save a little money, it's not a. But you're kind of giving up aftermarket support and whatnot. But like I said, that gun doesn't need a damn thing right out of the box.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got some questions for you, and a couple of them we've already answered. Just to get people a little more familiar with you, maybe that you haven't mentioned these, and they're not, big questions, but now we know where you're originally from, and you can say that again. But how long have you been in the United States?
I've been here since the last time New York Rangers won the Stanley Cup.
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of people might not know. So how long has that been?
1994.
Okay, cool. And where are you originally from, for people that don't know?
Well, I was born in Czechoslovakia, but actually came from Slovakia.
Okay.
Country split, about 10 years ago before I came here. Actually, not, about 6 years ago.
Okay.
And so I'm actually from Slovakia.
Cool. How long have you been into guns? Were you into guns over there, or when you came into the States?
Nah, I wasn't really into guns over there because I was too young. I was more into girls. And then I spent a year in the Army, and I was a radio guy, so I didn't get to shoot a lot of guns either. And I didn't really get into guns till, holy crap, till maybe 6-7 years ago. You kind of just, I don't know, watch something on YouTube, pick up the first 22, and just went on from there.
Okay. And how long have you been shooting actual competitions?
Well, let's see. I picked up my pistol permit in 2014, I think. Yeah, I think it's 2014. So pretty much ever since. Ever since I picked up permit and got my first pistol, I found a local range, started going to like a weekly shoot, and then they had a monthly shoot, and then it turns out there's like IDPA competition that you got to drive an hour or 2 hours. And as a matter of fact, we're shooting one this Saturday at a 6-hour academy.
Nice. Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's a Hope for Hero. It's a good match. All the proceeds go to Hope for Hero. It's a charity for they have a land, I think, in Kentucky where they bring the vets to unwind, kind of like a PTSD kind of thing. And it's an awesome match. I haven't shot it last year, but it's kind of like an outlaw USPSA match, steel challenge kind of. And the whole match is over 300 rounds. So usually matches are not that many rounds, so it's going to be fun. And not to mention, we get 20% off at Sig Pro Shop.
Nice.
There you go. That's cool. Yeah, Aaron Neurmeyer has a question. Does the Sig 19X, or excuse me, does the Glock 19X have a cutout on the front? And there it is. No, it doesn't, and that's why I like it. So, and this, okay, gun check also while we're doing this. I've been carrying the Glock 19X. So what did y'all carry? What's your gun check?
Bald.
Here's my gun check. That's it.
Oh, you carried that today? All right.
No, I don't. My carry gun's actually in the truck.
Okay, gotcha.
I didn't go anywhere today. The roads are locked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you carry, KS?
Well, I'm surrounded by guns right now, but I carried a laptop all day at work. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to hear you say that. But I know you would carry if you could.
I absolutely would, if I could.
Yes. One more quick question. Why the hell did you pick New York?
You know what? When I came here, I had a friend who helped me start it. He had a job here, got me a job, and met my wife, settled in, and you know what? It just one thing led to another. It just, for me, going all the way to the West Coast is even harder because then, whenever I go home, it just takes so much longer, and so this is convenient, but it's definitely not gonna be the last move. I don't plan on staying here for a lot longer.
I hear you.
How often do you get to go home?
I try to go at least once a year. Like 2 years ago, I went for my father's birthday. It was like a nice thing in the February. I just picked up and went. We're going again this summer because my niece is getting married. So usually we go in the summer, and we try to kind of mingle some other things in. Last year we went, so we didn't just stay in Slovakia. We went to see Prague, spent a couple of days in Rome. By the way, if you ever have a chance to see Rome, go for it. Awesome town. This year we're gonna try to do the same thing, either go see Vienna or maybe London, Paris. Because once you're in Europe, it's really not that expensive to go to hop to another town and spend a couple of days there.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, Rabbi's got a question. What is a pistol permit? Like it's a license to carry.
It's the actual permit. In New York State, if you can go watch my video on it. In New York State, you can't even touch a pistol without a permit. If you come to a gun store and you're gonna look at a certain pistol, the first thing they're gonna ask you for your credentials as a law enforcement or your pistol permit. If you don't have it, you can't handle one.
You can't even touch one in a gun store that's unloaded.
Nope.
Oh my God, wow. It's crazy.
Nope.
Wow. Okay. In competition, what bullets, and this is from CW Hunter, in competition, what bullets are used? 115 grain, 9mm, or 124 grain, 9mm?
I personally run heavy bullets. I run 145 grains in my grandpa's. A friend of mine runs 165 grain extremes in his 10-4 and CZs. Usually the 124, they run them in the open guns. But unless people are shooting factory ammo, if they're shooting factory ammo, they probably shoot a 124. Rarely you see 115s in a competition because they simply do not offer any advantage. Usually with the heavier bullet, there's less, I wouldn't say recoil, but there's a less muzzle rise.
Yeah. Huh. And in mine, I've ran both, ran 115, and granted, there is a little more muzzle rise. And 124. Now I've never ran 147 or higher than 124. If I did reload, I probably would. So
now I gotta ask, why is there less muzzle rise with a heavier weight bullet?
Well, your recoil impulse, because it's a heavier bullet, it's slower, with your velocity. But what I noticed, and I know the balls, because since he even shoots, more 40s and stuff like that. But I noticed with the 115, you just get more of a pop. It's not bad because it's 9mm, and especially as a heavy gun, but you get a little more pop in a 124. It's less. It's just a less recoil and less felt pop, I guess, is the easiest way I can explain it.
Huh. Technically, what it is your slide is moving slower.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you start loading them too heavy, you get to the point where you're actually waiting on your slide. If you're shooting too, literally that can happen. If you let's say if you really stick a 165 grain bullet, my Excalibur didn't like them, but if you load them really low, just enough to make the power factor, you're at the point that you actually see the slide moving. So you're kind of waiting on it. So basically, that's what it is. You got the slide moving slower, so less muzzle rise.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, and Mateo's saying higher velocity, SOP, equal and opposite force as well as slide reciprocation speed. So yeah, it's all very fascinating. I go to the range to shoot, or I go and I shoot. I don't spend as much time on that, and I probably should. So it's always interesting.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh yeah, and then also, I guess this is a question for Bald, and I've heard this too on some of the heavier steel targets. you know, that a little more mass, like a heavier bullet, will knock down a lot of the steel targets if they're knockdowns.
Well,
Better.
yes and no. I mean, technically they should be calibrated so the 115 knocks them down if you shoot them at a certain spot. If you shoot them too low, then obviously not. But 45 would knock them out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Then again, I saw Max Michel shooting the competition, and he would take 2 shots at the steel popper just to make it go down faster because that popper activated something else. So.
Yeah. And I've never had a problem shooting any steel that I've shot with a 115. You know, I've been able to hit it and knock it over. But then again, I guess
usually when you have a popper, you have the round. As long as you hit that round thing, it'll knock it down no matter what weight of the bullet. If you knock it lower, then that's when the weight of the bullet comes to mind.
Yeah, because I was gonna say a 45. You can definitely hear a thump of a 45 versus a 9mm when somebody's shooting either or. Let's see here. See, I think I saw a question. Let me see if I can find it.
Somebody was asking about off-the-shelf ammo for competition. It might have been Rabbi. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's what it was. What off-the-shelf ammo would you guys use for USPSA 9mm?
Uh-oh, did we lose Bald?
No, I'm here. I just had to relocate. Give me 1 second.
He's fallen and he can't get up.
No, I had to tell the computer to see the questions, and it was messy over there.
I got you. On the USPSA, just for 9mm, you know, he ordered a bunch of 115 grain. I think that's fine, especially getting into it, figuring out what your gun, you know, likes, what you like, and how it, you know, if you want less felt recoil, you know, whatever you feel comfortable with. But hell, I would just start out with whatever you could get inexpensive first.
Yeah, absolutely. There's you got to kind of figure out what you like. I have a buddy that when he shoots 9mm, he likes 115 because he likes the little pop. He likes it, you know.
Yeah.
It's really personal preference. If you have them, especially for the first couple of matches, unless you're shooting a major match, you know, where you got to worry about actual power factor, I would just shoot whatever you got.
Yeah. And I actually like to feel the pop. I've said that before in other videos and chats that I kind of like to feel the gun a little more. You know, if it's just, you know, shooting like a BB gun, I mean, it's fun to have no recoil at all, like shooting the 22 out of that PO9. But, you know, I like to feel a little bit of pop personally. Let's see here. What is your, like, if you were going to start a competition or go to a competition, do you prefer IDPA or just jumping right into USPSA?
I think the IDPA will be a little less challenging if you're like new to competition, especially on the local level, because generally you're gonna have less of a better shooters. Okay, let's put it this way: if I go shoot a local IDPA match, I mean, generally there's maybe 1 or 2 guys I got to worry about. That's about it.
Right.
Out of 30 shooters. So that's one thing, because usually when you start, you don't want to, like, you get into it and, you know, you're doing really bad, you know, and you kind of give up. So I think IDPA is probably better. Plus, it's more budget friendly because all you need is 3 magazines, magazine holder, and a holster, and you can literally use your carry rig. You can shoot from inside the waistband holster, so you can shoot what you have.
Yeah.
USPSA gets more competitive. USPSA is purely run and gun. It's more about time, less about actual accuracy. Although accuracy obviously plays a big part, but I can run the same stage, hit all alpha. By the time it's slow, and you're gonna lose to a guy that's gonna blaze it in half the time, and he's gonna mic 2 targets, and he's still gonna beat you.
Right.
It's just the way the game is played. So I just gotta keep in mind it's a game. Either way, it's a game. It's a little bit of the training, you know, because there's no muscle memory and whatnot, but it's not tactical training. It's a game.
Yeah. And also you'll have the gamers, you know, the guys that shoot a bunch of USPSA, they'll go to the IDPA and they'll use their Glock 34 or like a PO9 type gun. And you know, they just go in there and game it. I mean, they'll just tear it up. Some of them will. Some of it's a lot more challenging because the scoring's a lot, you know, the scoring is different. You've got to be a lot more accurate in IDPA.
Yeah, because the scoring is all about, you know, everything is in time. There's no points. Everything boils down to time. So you know how you did on the stage right away.
Yeah. Ask KS and Bald if they have seen the Arsenal Archon Firearms Type B yet.
Well, I didn't see the Type B, just the video that you posted, but I do own the original Strike 1, and it looks to me like a same gun, just shrunk down version.
Yeah, what do you think, KS?
I've only seen videos kind of like Big Johnson's, and there have been a few videos over the past, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 months, whatever it is. So I've seen those. I mean, it kind of looks interesting. I've seen your videos on your Arsenal. And you know, I'd love to try one at some point in time, but I don't know how excited I am about the firearm. I would want to see it first. I would really want to see it, and the likelihood that it would end up in my area is probably pretty low.
Well, I've seen the Strike 1, you know, and of course I know that Bald has one, and I've seen it. Matter of fact, I had the opportunity to buy one used, but they were insane on the price. But I know that the firearm's pretty much been discontinued. And it's an amazing pistol. I mean, the bore axis, everything about it, I really like on the Strike 1. Well, when I put the Strike B in my hand, and they're not going to come out with the A yet, they're coming out with the B first. And I talked to the guy off the record about why the delay is so long. And hell, I won't get in trouble for saying it on this chat. The delay has been that, you know, it was going to be called like the Arsenal Strike B. Well, Arsenal did not want them to use their name because they have the arsenal, you know, like AKs, etc. And so they got in a big piston match about that. And so that's why they had to change the name. So that's the delay, supposedly. But honestly, in the hand, I mean, it feels exactly like a Strike 1. Matter of fact, if you look at it, just like Bald said, it looks like a shrunk down Strike 1. But the trigger is super nice. It's got a short reset trigger. You know, and it's got the fiber optics from the factory, and they are Arsenal sights. The gun feels really nice. Comes in a little zipper pouch. You can see in the magazine, comes with 4 mags. I'm sure they're probably going to be going for MSRP right when they come out. You know, it's like $850, but I think over time and availability, they might go down a little. But I was really impressed with the pistol. I didn't think I would be, but I think it's going to be a really nice pistol. It fits great in my hand because it's the size of a Glock 19 and a 17. It's right in the middle. And, you know, as Harry said, you know, it should really hold 17 rounds. And I do agree with that. I think it should. But pistol feels pretty awesome.
How many rounds it holds?
It holds 15. Now,
so
will they come, you know, can you eventually get an extension? You probably can. But from the factory, it comes with 4, and the mags are made by Metgar. Comes with 4 15-round mags. But in the hand, it really should come with 17, but it fits my hand perfectly. I mean, even the length, everything. I was really impressed with the pistol, and I really like the cutout on the front slide. If you want to press check it or rack it, you know, my hand just fit right in there. And the grip is awesome, and the beaver tail really is unbelievable. You can get under that gun really, really deep. So I was pretty surprised by that.
And it's probably going to fit the CZ magazines.
Yeah, you know, looking at them, they look really familiar. I mean, they look kind of like a CZ magazine, but right at the top, they had this like weird little cut at the back. So I don't think they're going to be compatible. They probably made that on purpose so they wouldn't be, but they definitely have a real big resemblance to a CZ magazine.
The Strike 1, the CZ magazine is working it no problem.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they change this, you know, but it's just the back, and that could have been, maybe they'll fit in it. Maybe it just could be where it's welded. You know, I don't know. It just looks a little different at the back.
Well, I guess we gotta wait till it actually comes out, if it comes out.
If it comes out, that's right.
It sounds kind of fishy that they found out the very last moment when they're supposed to release it that they can't use the Arsenal name.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that was the whole, you know, and honestly, I think there might have been a little bit of money issue with it, but he wouldn't tell me that. But, you know, the guy was like, I can't say this off the record. You know, I have to say this part off the record. You can't film it. And I was like, okay, so at least told me that. But cool thing about it is also it's going to have a lifetime warranty, and it's going to have, if you're proven not guilty on a good shoot, they will actually give you a gun. They'll send you a gun. So it's pretty cool if, you know, if they do that. But the way he wasn't real gracious about telling me this, but I said, okay, if you're ever in a shoot, they're going to take your gun. So do you send a gun just until it's given back? And I know sometimes they'll just keep your gun, you know, depending on how long it drags out. But he just said, if you're in a shoot, we send you a gun. If it's a good shoot, you know, if you're not found not guilty. I was like, well, that's cool. So we'll see how that goes. But, you know, and there was another comment in here from Young Guns. He said the VP9 should also hold 17 rounds, and I definitely agree with that. What's y'all's opinion on the VP9?
VP9 never spoke to me.
Yeah.
I was
What do you think?
I'm a big fan of the VP9. As far as 17 or 15 rounds, I don't squawk about that very much. My 15 rounds is plenty as far as I'm concerned for at least the types of things that I do. And I never considered the VP9 as a carry gun, although it is certainly, it can certainly be carryable. It's just not for me. So yeah, I don't get too hung up on that sort of thing. Although I see why people say that, because it is closer to full size and duty and that sort of thing. And you associate that with 17 rounds or 18 rounds. I get it, but it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, and I think that's why people say it, is it because it just looks like a full-size duty gun, so to say.
Right. It don't matter to me. Only way I can carry 15 rounds is 50 magazines.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is a great question for for both of you guys. The Glock 34, or he's actually saying KS, but I know that Bald would know too. Glock 34 Gen 5 or the Sig P320 X5.
That's a tough one. I would say X5 because it gives you more options.
Okay. As far as in what though? Because if the Glock 34, he didn't say this, but what if the Glock 34? I mean, they offer a MOS version too, so you could put a red dot on both if you went that way. So
okay.
why would you pick the Sig?
I didn't know that. I don't know. It's kind of toss, to be honest. The X5, I really loved it. Loved the way it felt in the hand. Loved the way it shot. I hated the trigger. I just didn't want to spend money on getting the upgraded trigger. And I don't really have a whole lot of trigger time on the Glock. I used to have a 35. I think it was a Gen 4. And never really shot in the competition. I wound up going to Grand Powers from there. But the Glock 34 with the MOS, it'll be a toss-up. It'll be a toss-up because on the one hand you got huge aftermarket support on the Glock. You can buy everything under the sun, But then again, the X5, you got ability to change, the frames and all that. So I'd say you can't go wrong with either one.
What do you think, KS?
Well, I'm a big fan of both as well. If I had to choose between the two, I'd go the 34 for a couple of reasons. Even taking aftermarket off the table, even just running in both stock. The Glocks for me have always shot flatter, and I just, the grips have always felt right. Even the larger grip of a 17 or a 34 or 17L, those things, they just feel a little bit better. And the X5 I love, but there are a couple of criticisms I have of the X series in general. That grip's pretty wide. So it takes a little different. I mean, you got to have bigger hands for that. I mean, they seem to do okay for me. They're a little top heavy, not a lot. They're manageable, and the X5 is pretty well weighted with that bull barrel. But it is, certainly something to consider. It might take a tiny bit longer to get back on target if time is of the essence. And then the only other thing that has always bothered me about the X series, and it's a very minor gripe, it's not too big of a deal. And as Bald said, I mean, you have some aftermarket trigger options, even though those trigger options don't necessarily fix this. The reset timing to me is off a little bit, and this is getting super nerdy. But I feel like the return spring isn't very good. It's not very strong, and it's got a slow reset. So there were times where, especially when I would break in any of those X series guns, and I found that there was always about a 300 round break in before things kind of smoothed out a little bit. I'd have to wait for that trigger, and I don't like to shoot slow. I'm not very good at that. I like to shoot a little bit faster. So when I would shoot slow, I'd get kind of bored waiting for the trigger to reset a little bit. And so I would want to see them make some improvements there, because it's a great platform to start with. But if they could tweak a few things here and there, I think that'd be okay. So Mateo is saying, so the spring is spongy. Yes, I would say a spongy is a good way to put it. And it's the return spring. The rest of the trigger, I'm not bothered with at all. I think they have pretty good triggers. But the return spring just isn't great. And if you do any work on a P320 at all, those springs can get bent so easily, and that'll slow them down even more. And I've had that experience. So long story short, I'd take a 34.
Yeah. And I've only, I mean, I've never actually shot either one, but I have felt them a lot, played with the triggers a lot on both of them. And for the price of the X5, I would buy the Glock. And this is, I would buy the Glock because, it's less expensive. You can change the trigger quickly, and, you just got everything you need out there and just sitting on a shelf. So you can just go grab it, and they're super easy to work on. I would just go the Glock, between those two. Now, I like the X5. I think it's a nice pistol, but I'm just not super impressed with it.
I'd say one thing though, the X5 is a better looking gun.
Yes.
It definitely has that second kind of cool. They are good looking guns, especially, and they don't make these anymore. They used to have the silver bullet barrels. They aren't doing them anymore. It's only the black barrels now.
Yeah.
But when they had the silver bullet barrel, man, that's a good looking gun.
Yeah, and it's definitely, like you said, it's a lot more ergonomic in the hand. But okay, yeah, and you can't badmouth Sig now, because of all this 365 stuff. I've gotten beat up over it, and all that other crap. Okay, well, CW Hunter has a pretty good. He said he has the P07 and the trigger system is the Omega, and totally different than the standard CZ trigger system. It's hard for him to compare. He likes his P07 carry, but prefers the P01 or the SP01. What's your opinion on, and I know that we've kind of beat this dead horse, but do you have an opinion on like a Omega trigger versus a standard CZ trigger, the hook trigger?
Bald, what do you think?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, one of my home defense guns is a P07 Duty, which basically has a hook trigger, but still got the conversion for the safety or decocker, and that thing's awesome. But for me, the hook trigger kind of a little bit bothers me. It doesn't bother me on the home defense gun, but for the competition gun, it kind of pinches my my finger. So I'm not a huge fan of that. The 75 Shadow Target I used to had that, and that bothered me a little bit. I mean, it wasn't a deal breaker, but it definitely you feel it after a match.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really care for either or the other.
What do you think, KS?
For quite a while, I was not a big fan of the overemphasized hook trigger, but I've since kind of changed my mind a little bit. And I think the Phantom kind of helped me with that. I seemed to shoot that pretty well. Now I like the SP01, and of course I shot yours when you were here and ended up doing a review on one. And I've now picked up the tactical Urban Gray SP01. But I actually have both the P01 tactical Omega and the SP01 here next to me. They're both great. They're both fantastic. I mean, I suppose if I really thought about it, the Omega I probably prefer. But I've kind of gotten over the hooked trigger, and it doesn't bother me as much as it did in the beginning.
Yeah, and I have big hands. I know Ball does too. And, I've brought up this same point where the hook trigger is just the shape of it. When I shoot it a lot, I'll actually get a protrusion on the end of my finger. I mean, it actually hurts. Where the Omega is just a little flatter. It still has a hook, but it's just a little elongated, and it's just more comfortable on my finger. And it seems a tad lighter to me. I've checked them on pulls, and it does come out just a tad, but it's not enough to jump up and down about. But I know if you have a regular hooked type trigger, on those, and if it's of course non-Omega or Duty, not Omega in non-duty, you can put the 85 combat trigger in it, and that'll fix the trigger issue. If it's poking you. But they're both fine. I mean, I own them and I shoot them both. They're fine.
Yep.
Let's see here. And then of course,
gotta do shout out to Live for Wild.
Oh yes, Live for Wild had surgery today. He's out of surgery. He had a total knee replacement. So please pray for him. He's out. He's already texted us, and we wish him the best and a very quick recovery. He's actually in the chat. So if you haven't subscribed, and as we always say, we've got tons of people in the chats always. And if you haven't subscribed to the other channels, please do. They're all great guys and ladies, and it's a community, and we all want to be a part of each other as much as we can. So, yep. Let's see here, and I've seen this question a couple of times, especially with Keaton Gillum. On a lot of people don't like the double action on a regular CZ. You can put springs in it. Just the basic springs. You don't have to do the full blown kit. You can just put some springs in it, hammer spring, slide spring, stuff like that, and you can lighten them up, to wherever you want it to for very inexpensive. It's like $18. I mean, it's cheap. So if that bothers you, you can definitely change it. What do y'all have coming up? We've got we've got a little bit. What's the big things that you have coming up on your channels? Any super exciting stuff coming up, or anything that you're focusing on? Go ahead, Bob.
Not really. Right now, I'm just focusing on the Saturday's match. Actually, for me, it's a 4-hour drive, so we go on Friday night. Yeah, we're going Friday night, spending the night in the hotel, and then coming back. And then 2 weeks later, we have a Massachusetts State IDPA. So that's about it. As far as the guns, I got 365 sitting at my FFL. I was hoping the paperwork would be in, but when I mailed it in, I wanted it to be on my wife's permit as well. So I put 2 amendments, one in her name, one in mine, receipt, everything that they needed. And 2 weeks later, they tell me, oh, you didn't include authorization. Like, what kind of authorization? Did you authorize your wife to have the gun on her permit? I'm like, duh. So had to email them something, and I'm hoping any day now.
Oh, good.
That's about the only new exciting gun, and I'm hoping mine's not like Harris, that mine wasn't assembled on Friday.
Yeah, well, I was hoping to get to shoot Harry's, but it turned out to be a paperweight for me, and I wasn't happy about that. I know he's not either, but it is what it is. So I was wanting to see. I've put my hands on it many times, but I was wanting to see how it is to shoot.
They're actually really fun to shoot, I will say. They are good shooters.
Yeah. Well, I meant to see my hands on it and see, and I wasn't going to try to stop the slide or do anything crazy. I just wanted to see, and everybody's like, oh, you have big hands, you should be able to shoot it. But what I was talking about is actually having the pistol in a holster and being able to reach down and grab it like quickly and be able to put it on target. And of course, that gun, I would probably shoot it one-handed anyway. It's just going to be a point and shoot gun for me. But I was just really excited about shooting it, never got to. And Harry says it's really fun to shoot at 100 yards.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you can see the target, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I would say I do good to see past 20 yards.
Right.
Well, it all depends how big the target is.
That's true.
Bright.
Yeah, well, that's true. If it's like a box truck, I could probably maybe hit it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, throw an 18-wheeler out there, and I'm probably golden.
No, like the 1/3 of the scale, the steel target of the IPSC target. You can see that at 100 yards. You can shoot it. It might take a couple of shots to figure out where you're hitting, but it's really not that hard.
Yeah.
I've taken the TSO to 100 yards and the Shadow too, and I would hit it, miss it, hit it, miss it. But it's definitely different because I've never shot that far before until I tried that. Yeah,
it's just you got to figure out your holdover and all that. Yeah. Once you know where you're hitting, it's really not that hard.
Yeah. What's the farthest you've ever tried to shoot? 100 yards?
Yeah, that's about it. I never. The thing is, my place where I shoot is I can walk to 100. Technically, I can walk to 200, but it's just pain in the ass. I mean, I'm never gonna be shooting pistols at that range. If I had a range like Rick, it's just 6 covered, and X-ring where you have a target at 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, and you have those steel targets. Yeah, I would take a swing. I'm sure you can hit the steel at 300 yards with a pistol once you know where you're hitting. You have a spotter that's going to tell you after a couple of shots. It's doable.
Yeah. What about you, KS? What's the farthest you've ever shot?
100 yards. You guys saw it on that Fort Scott video.
Oh yeah.
So they're challenged. Next time I go out there, we're going to do 800 yards. So that will be an interesting experience coming from a pistol guy.
Yeah. I was gonna say, take your pistol and shoot it at 800 yards.
I definitely will. I definitely will spray and pray.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we've got some great, like I said, we've got a great chat going, like 59, 60 viewers, and we appreciate the thumbs up. So definitely pound that thumbs up. But what if there was any gun, like your dream gun, what would it be to have, to actually own? What would your dream gun be to own, Bald?
Wilson Combat Super Grade.
Okay, so it'd be a pistol.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of in this day we kind of screwed with the rifles, so I can't really have the rifles I want. But Wilson Combat Super Grade, that's a dream gun. That's probably double what I paid for the Infinity, and there's quite a bit of lead time on that as well.
Yeah, when we went to a Wilson Combat, booth at NRA, man, whew, they had some beautiful pistols. I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah, they were pretty nice. What about you, KS? What's your dream gun? Rifle, shotgun, pistol, whatever?
It changes all the time, as with everything in the collection. But I'll be honest with you, right now, I would love to try, and is this a dream gun or not? I don't really know, but I would really like to try the Wilson Combat, that little double stack.
EDC-9.
EDC-9. I've held one. Frontier Justice had one for a while. It's a $3,000 gun. Obviously not something that would be on the channel unless somebody gave me one. But that thing was pretty beautiful. It was a hell of a gun, and totally impractical in all regards other than shooting. I mean, that would be a Fabergé egg as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't carry that on a bet unless I just had money pouring out of my pockets, which I don't. So that'd be something to really experience, if nothing else.
Yeah, and what's funny, at the Wilson Combat booth at the NRA show, that is the pistol that I was just mesmerized by. And I've shot full size 1911s. Smaller size, but when I put my hand on that gun and then I ask a bunch of questions, the cool thing about that pistol with the Wilson Combat is they can actually build it to the backstrap you want. So if you wanted a large, and then the trigger reach, they offered a small, medium, and a large trigger reach. And I thought, man, that's ingenious. The gun, held 15 rounds, but it fit in my hand. I would like it just a tad longer in the grip, but it was an amazing pistol. And the trigger was beautiful. I mean, everything about it. And they had like a battle-worn finish where you could get the battle-worn gold or battle-worn gray and black. It was just awesome. But for pistol, that was a pretty badass pistol. But probably my ultimate thing, and I've actually only shot pops at the farm, but man, a 50 cal. Now, do I have a place to shoot it? No, but it's just cool. I mean, to have a 50 cal, you could just yank it out of the back of your truck and just freaking go to town, or hell, shoot it out of the back of your truck. I just think they're badass, and it's not like it's an impossible gun, but I just have no place to shoot the damn thing.
Yeah,
you can get upper for your AR.
Yeah,
50 cal upper, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, well, I saw it's a single shot. There's a bolt action with a side magazine, and you put it right on top of the AR.
Yeah, and I've seen the one where. And actually that 50 Beowulf is freaking badass too. I saw it on Demolition Ranch and I was just like, damn, that's a badass rifle. But
that uses a 30 round AR magazine, right?
Yes. Well, it's an AR.
It's only 10 rounds, so that's actually legal in New York as long as it says on it that it's a 10 round magazine.
There you go.
Yeah, I just think it's cool looking. Any questions that we've missed? And we've only got about 10 minutes to the subscribers. So any questions y'all want to get in that you're thinking about, or any questions you have for Bald or all of us, please put throw them out there, and we'll try to answer as many as we can. See if any, help me keep an eye on it, see if any of these pop up that, yeah, an M1 Grand's cool. I've never owned one, but I've shot one, and it was pretty cool. Have y'all ever shot an M1 Grand?
I have not. I'd love to.
What about you, Bald?
I never shot the M1 Grand. I shot the M1A. You know, I shot that. That's one of the nice rifles I want. But again, you know, I want the original one with the flash hider and all that, and you can only get one without the flash hider and kind of gay looking, New York compliant. So I don't want that.
Yeah, and actually I saw something today that I was really thinking about getting. I mean, it was right there in my hand, and I was just like, I have no reason to have it. It was the Chinese SKS, and this stock looked like it just came off the showroom floor, and it actually had the bayonet and everything, and it looked like it was brand spanking new out of the box. And someone had converted it so it would take the Sega mags, and it was 7.62 by 39. And believe it or not, the price was $299. I've never
should have jumped all over it.
I know, but I was like, you know, I just bought that the Russian one, and hell, I hadn't even shot it yet. So I was just like, what the? And I've had SKSs before, but I had the Russian ones, and I should have kept them. But I was just like, man, this thing was immaculate. And at $299, I was like, I ought to get it. And then I was like, what the hell am I going to do with it? You know, I just don't have rifle areas that much. You know, 25. Nobody. I don't like shooting rifles at 25 yards. You know, and you're not going to use it in 3-gun or anything.
You can.
Huh?
You can.
Well, I know, but I mean, you know, but it was really, really nice. And like I said, the damn bayonet looked literally brand new, and it well worked. I checked the spring in it. The spring was so freaking tight. You know, it wasn't all worn out. So the thing was immaculate, though. Any other ideas or anything y'all got coming up?
I've got a bunch of stuff coming up. I've got the FNX 45. I've been spending some time with that with the can. So that's been a lot of fun. People have been asking for the P10 suppressor, the tactical. Then I've got the SPO1 tactical and the PO7 everything is tactical. I'm not tactical, but I've got a bunch of tactical guns. It's an odd mix up here, but I've sort of exploded on the threaded barrel thing because I kind of want to slap the can on everything I possibly can. In fact, I'm trying to figure out a way to do that with the shield. I'm sure there's some sort of threaded barrel I can find for that. But anyways, so yeah, just doing that. I've got a couple of other things, a couple of other irons in the fire. So we'll see what happens.
Cool. Yeah, Young Guns, they do make a PO1 and a 40 cal. I think it's called a PO6, but they're pretty hard to find. What do you have coming up, Bald?
Not much. Oh. I want to comment the case on the suppressor. I don't blame you. I mean, I got to shoot the suppressed guns at the farm, and holy crap! If I could, I'd be all over it.
I'm telling you, it's addictive, and it's funny. I shoot at an indoor range, so I can't really truly take advantage of the sound differences. Although you definitely notice something, and just the sound, it's such a distinctive and different sound. I've always been jealous of other guys down the row when they bring in their cans or whatever, and you hear that just kind of that thump that it makes. So now I'm the one making that sound. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I'm excited to eventually get it out of jail. But I was talking with Big J the other day, and even though it's locked up in jail, I can go and shoot it. And at the end of the day, I'm only going to shoot it at the range anyways. So whether I have it here or not really is sort of irrelevant unless I want to put it on camera. So it's not that big of a deal. And it's a nice luxury to be able to shoot the item before I actually get the tax stamp. So it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's been a very interesting experience. And like that scorpion with the can on it, I'll tell you what, you just do that all day long. Really could.
Bald and I shot that at the farm, and man, it was impressive. Hell, my Steyr M9A1 was impressive with the can on it. We shot Tavors with the cans. We've shot all kinds of shit with cans. It was a lot of fun.
Do you shoot like a different ammo when you shoot a can?
I do. Now with 45, you don't really have to. But with the 9mm right now, I'm using it's an American Eagle, and I can't remember if it's 147 grain, I think, but it's made specifically for suppressor. So it's subsonic. And then of course, Fort Scott Munitions, they gave me a bunch of ammo. So I've got a lot of their subsonic, even though it's only, I think it's 128 grain, maybe 9mm, but it does extraordinarily well through a suppressor. So, but again, at an indoor range, even 115 grain still sounds pretty darn cool.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I never got my package, KS.
Which one?
After you won that big Fort Scott giveaway.
It's on the way. It's being delivered by a squirrel.
Okay, gotcha. Slow boat from China.
Right.
Yeah. I've got a video coming out. The 19X that you see here does not have a stock trigger anymore. And I've got a video coming out on that. Plus, I've got a video coming out, the 19X versus the P10C, which is pretty cool. And I've done some different stuff on this video, so hopefully y'all will enjoy it. But and then I've just got some little stuff come out, nothing super crazy. And I've got some stuff that was sent in that came in yesterday, and it's pretty cool. I think it's, I mean, I like it. I think, subscribers will like it too. So
sweet.
Nobody sends me anything.
I'll send you some stuff, buddy.
Yeah, actually, Big Al sent me a shirt. I wore it at the last competition.
Yeah. Oh, Bald, I've got some peppermints here. I'll send you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm here for you. Don't worry about it. And of course, and this is really cool. Now on this particular chat, I've met both of these goofballs in person, and they're both great guys. What's funny is I was going to say, Balder, aren't we I think you, myself, and Coda Boy are about the same height, aren't we, in build?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, because I think SoCal was pretty tall, or he was a little bit taller than us. And hell, Crazy Scotsman's pretty damn tall too. He doesn't look like it, but he is. But yeah,
definitely crazy in the SoCal. They're both sticking out of the crowd.
Yeah. But it's great meeting both these guys in person and shooting with them and having a really good time. So that is always fun. Now we just got to get 1776 to come down. And for anybody that missed, when we talked about it first, 1776, his course is in New York. He got hit in the storm and knocked all of his power out. So he won't have any power till Saturday. So he is on a generator. So everybody please think about him. That would suck. Yeah,
just to put it in perspective, we got bypass. All we got was the rain. But my son was coming from school. His school is about 40 minutes away. Well, it took him 4 hours to get home. He left at 5. He got home at 8:30.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
He tried every side road there was. Every road was closed. I was actually going to Home Depot this morning, and I only made it halfway. Got turned around 3 times, and then I just gave up and came back home. It was power lines all over the place. Down, or 2 towns down, there's at least 10 houses with the trees right through the houses. I mean, it was just a force. I mean, I got a couple of shots. Maybe I'll put the video together. It's just the tree snapped in half. Not even talking about the ones that were out with the roots, but literally snapped in half. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Screw with Mother Nature.
Anyway, guys, it's close to 8 o'clock. Y'all want to go ahead and say some closing thoughts? I'll let Bald go first.
Thank you very much for having me here. And as always, have fun. Keep shooting.
There you go.
Bald, it's a pleasure to have you, man. We will definitely do this again, and this is long past due, so we're happy to have you. And I know everybody else has had a lot of fun. It's been fun to talk about competition, and I know there were some questions we didn't get to, so we'll definitely have to have a round 2 for this. To everybody else, thank you so much. Always fun to join you guys on a Wednesday evening, and for you guys taking time out of your day to hang with us. Other great channels on here, be sure to check them out, although I know you guys already have at this point in time. You guys know each other so well, and we love that and appreciate that about you. So yeah, man, keep shooting, and we will definitely see you next time.
Yeah, and definitely we appreciate Ball being on. Like I said, he's a great guy, and it is definitely long overdue. I appreciate all y'all being on, and of course KS, we're all brothers from another mother, and great community we have. We appreciate all y'all for being loyal subscribers. to our Hump Day chat, and we will be doing this next week. I can't remember whose channel. Is it on your channel, KAS?
I don't remember, so sure.
I think it is. But we'll put an alert out and everything. But we appreciate y'all so much. And remember, carry on.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.